It is July 6th at 10:06 a.m. and we're going to conduct the 10th interview with Jim Herschberg. All right. Again, good morning, sir. If we could start the interview, I would just like to start out, if you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your background so we know who you are.
I was born in Pasadena, California in 1952.
Okay.
Went to high school and elementary school mainly in Glendora, California.
Okay.
Went to college in Pomona, California at Cal Poly Pomona. Got married in 1976 in April and moved up to Craig. And a couple months after, my wife Linda moved up with me. I'd been recruited by the Chevrolet dealership in Craig to move up here. That did not work out very well, so I worked at the Ford dealership for a while as parts and accounting manager. And in August 1977, I was recruited to go to work at Trapper Mine, which is where I'm still at.
Okay. And what did you first do when you came to the mine?
My first job at the mine was union warehouseman. They had a moratorium on hiring any staff, and they hired me specifically because I was one of, I think, two people at the time in Craig that had computer experience. And
okay.
They were going to need some computer expertise, so they kind of backdoored me in through the union, and I was a union warehouseman, and shortly after became what they called a union storekeeper. And along about 83, 84, I was switched to a staff position as a buyer, and today I am, my title is materials manager. Basically I'm the most senior executive on the executive committee. I think I'm the number 2 seniority staff person out there.
Okay.
I manage warehousing, purchasing, contracting, some legal affairs, insurance, from the water plant, do a variety of things.
Right, so a very well-rounded position.
A lot of variety, yeah.
And how long have you been at that exact position?
Right around 20 years.
20 years, okay. So you've been doing a lot of different things for quite some time. How have you seen the mine itself change and develop with the workers coming in, through the booms, all of that?
Technology in the equipment has changed a lot. Information management, which really affects what I do, has changed a lot. The relationships between the mine and the federal and state agencies and other businesses we interface has really changed because of the electronic age. Most communications aren't face-to-face anymore. They're even rarer on the phone, I guess, than they used to be. It's electronic. It's unstructured. It's a lot different than it used to be. It's kind of sterile, actually.
Okay. And with technology changing, how have you seen, just going off that a little bit, how have you seen safety develop? Safety for the workers, safety with the equipment in the years that you've been there?
There's a lot of, equipment is generally safer by a long shot. Technology enables people to make safer mine plans, safer maintenance plans, more accountable plans. But bottom line, safety-wise, it really still comes down to individuals and personalities and their behavior. Technology assists them, but safety's really going on between your ears.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard in talking to a few other people that have worked at the mines that safety has been pretty well executed since they've been there. There haven't been a lot of issues, and when they have, like you said, it's more personal. It's not to do with equipment malfunctioning necessarily. Usually it's human error.
Trapper Mine is an extremely safe mine and has been since it started in 76, 77.
Okay.
But mining is unbelievably dangerous.
Right.
There are hazards that you can't imagine.
Right. And because you've been managing for so long, how has managing specifically changed?
It's maybe a little less personal.
Less personal,
Yeah.
right?
Communications are written. Procedures are more standardized, which still has a long way to go. They could be more standardized than they are.
Right.
There's less free will of the employees,
Okay.
and there's a lot more government regulation that tells us what to do, whether it's a good idea or bad.
More government regulation. And how involved have the unions been in your experience?
At the Trapper Mine, in the very, very early years, there was a fair amount of friction, I would say, between the union and the management.
Okay.
And there was also friction within the staff. But I would say by the early '80s that had kind of settled down, and it's a beautiful relationship. It is one company. It's not union and non-union. It's one company. We work very close together.
Okay. So there's a pretty much a pro-union sentiment.
It's a very, I would call it a successful union environment. I think the union's very happy with it. Trapper Mine is very happy with it. Our owners are very happy with it.
Okay.
We would have never been able to start and get people if it wasn't for the union supplying people.
Okay.
So it's been very successful.
Okay. The mine, in talking to a few other people that have worked there, has been basically credited with bringing one of the latest booms to Craig. They see a lot of citizens who lived here before the mine have seen the mine as this big catalyst for change in the community. And I didn't know if you could speak to how the mine has been developing through that boom, and if you've seen any booms after.
Trapper Mine has been kind of an up and down employer, up and down producer since it started. And the ups and downs haven't been huge. They've maybe been production increases or decreases of 15 or 20%. But an increase can really affect the local economy. Today, Trapper spends about $30 to $40 million a year on outside contracting and supplies, and Trapper has always endeavored to do business locally. We really work hard to buy and contract with local entities and try and keep everything within the town and county where we can.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of increase in our production can have a significant economic increase on the town. And there have been at least, I could think of three boom and bust cycles. In the late 70s, early 80s, there was a significant downtrend. In the early 90s, was it 94, 95-ish, there was a downtrend. We're currently having a downtrend, and we're trying to keep it as transparent as we can. We're reducing our production somewhat for the next 6 months or so, and then it should pick back up. Trapper's generally been a very stable business.
Okay. And you expect that to continue?
We expect that to continue till our reserves run out, which right now our reserves are only secured till about 2022, 2023.
Okay.
If there's a way to secure it beyond that, and the power plant still wants to run coal, we will do that.
Okay. Okay. So outside of the mine then, with you talking about the community and how Trapper's been involved in the community and hiring locally, what was Craig like, first off, when you first came here? How would you describe Craig?
Craig was a dust bowl, kind of an out-of-control little town, wild and crazy, partying all night long, tons of construction workers for the construction of the second unit of the power plant coming on when I came here, and subsequently the third unit. The busiest places in town were the bars and a few liquor stores, and law enforcement had their work cut out for them. I think when I finally went looking for a house after I moved up here, which was, let's say, along about April, May, June of 1976, I don't think there was ever more than 3 houses for sale at any one time.
Wow.
If you found what you wanted, you needed to buy it right then. There was people living in tents, lots of people living in campers. It's pretty much a frontier town, a boom town, similar to what's going on in North Dakota right now, like in Williston, only a little smaller.
Okay.
The business people were trying to take advantage of everything they could, and there's a lot of back scratching going on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it was a very rough environment when you first came.
Very rough.
Not
compared to where I came from, it was very rough.
Okay. Would you say at all anything family oriented then?
You mean, was there much family activities?
Yeah. Was there anything to do really as a family?
It was really limited at the time. Craig had just the city park, I think. Gosh, I don't even know if there was a swimming pool in town at the time. There wasn't much culture in town. It was probably not the best place to be raising a family. The schools were not run well. The city was not run very well. But that changed. The companies that came to town, like Colorado Ute at the time that owned the power plants, Trapper Mine, Colorado, Seneca Mine, the bigger companies got together and contributed intellectual skills and business skills and finance to the town to really turn it into what it is today.
Okay. And how specifically has it changed then over the years?
It's a good family town. I think the schools have really improved, although they still have some room to improve.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado Northwest Community College is a great asset. The new hospital is a great asset. Trapper Mine, for instance, has been instrumental in expanding the golf course and managing the golf course, been instrumental in starting the Trapper Health Club, recently developed soccer fields. I remember in 77, 78, building the baseball fields down at Loudy Simpson. And all the other companies have contributed in ways too. Mainly to support families, to support recreation, to support their employees when they want to work. And it's more of a community now, more of a variety of things to do.
Okay. I know that you have been very involved in a lot of different organizations in your time here in Craig. So could you just maybe talk about a few of those different ways you've seen change affected through the organizations you've been involved with, and what those organizations are?
I would say that the first organization I got involved in when I came to Craig was called the Colorado JCs, which is a young businessmen's club basically, and a civil service club. That's where I first met Don Labe, for instance. Don Labe was involved in JCs back in 76, 77. And we did community activities, cleaned things up, tried to provide education, firearms education particularly, and that was good. I got involved in the Elks Club not too long after that. The Elks Club does all kinds of things, particularly for retired folks and supporting disabled folks. And it's a good community organization all around. It's kind of evaporated to a large degree these days, but back in the late 70s, early 80s, it was one of the most active service entities or service clubs in town. I've also been involved in the Kiwanis Club since, I think, the late 90s. Kiwanis Club's a real factor in the town.
How so?
They provide funding for scholarships for high school grads. They provide funding for medical alerts for older folks. Provide a lot of support to the disabled services in town. All done fairly quietly. And we have some cleanup activities. We have some project activities. But the main thing is just supporting goodwill in the town and a good format for local business people to meet. I would say a fair amount of the top business people in town and professional people belong to Kiwanis Club. It creates a community of business people that can get things done. I've also been involved in it's called the National Association of Purchasing Management, where it's a professional organization of people that purchase and buy materials. At one time there was about 10 active members in Craig, and there was a very active chapter on the western slope. That's kind of dissolved as technology has changed. There's not needs to have meetings to get things done.
Right.
Things can be done electronically, and because of that, it's really got spread out, and it's not much of a community organization. It's just kind of a professional information gathering organization.
Okay.
I've been involved periodically in the golf course board, building, managing, and setting up the golf course. I think I've done 3 or 4 terms on the board there at various times.
How's the golf course developed since you've been here?
The golf course has gone from being just a cow pasture kind of golf course to being a really significant golf course on the western slope. It's a very high-quality golf course, very well maintained, very well designed. Brings a lot of business to Craig. Exceptional golf course for a small town this size.
Okay.
I've also been involved regularly in an organization called Horizons Specialized Services, or Horizons for the Handicapped. It's the organization, Community Center Board, I guess you'd call it, organization that manage disabled services for the state, for 4 counties, I believe.
Okay.
And that interfaces with, well, in those 4 counties, let's say 300 to 500 mentally disabled folks that need support. And it's a significant community support organization.
Mm-hmm.
Very quiet. Generally, you don't hear a lot about them. They take care of a part of the community that otherwise wouldn't get took care of.
Right. And I've been told that, is it through that you've been involved in Special Olympics?
Actually, it's mainly through Kiwanis to start with that I was involved with Special Olympics.
Oh, okay.
But, they work very closely with Horizon Specialized Services. A lot of the athletes, probably the majority of the athletes that participate in Special Olympics in this area, in northwest Colorado, are clients of Horizon Specialized Services as well. So
okay.
It kind of meshes.
And are they mostly local from here in Craig?
Craig, Steamboat, Glenwood Springs. We get a fair amount of people out of Delta and Grand Junction that come to Special Olympics in Craig.
Oh, okay. So all
Sometimes
over.
Cheyenne, Wyoming. Yeah, it's the northwest quarter of Colorado event is what's hosted in Craig.
Oh, okay.
It's a fairly large event. 100 sometimes 130 athletes.
Oh, wow.
And their families.
And Craig is the host?
Craig is the host.
Is this annual?
Annual, yeah. Usually in May, I think second weekend, third weekend in May every year. And that's been going on since the mid-'80s, I believe.
Oh, okay. So for a while.
For quite a while.
Okay. Okay.
It's basically run by Kiwanis Club.
Okay.
And financed by Kiwanis Club.
Right. What did your involvement with the Chamber of Commerce look like?
I was on the board of directors for 2, 3, 4 years, don't remember for sure. Ultimately, I was the president, but I had to resign due to family health problems. My son was very sick, and I could not take care of my responsibilities. But it was a good organization. Still got a long ways to go.
Right.
But good organization.
How has it helped the community develop and continue with these trends you've been talking about?
Probably the main thing that the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Partnership for Routt and Moffat County do. The best things they provide is education to business people to kind of bring them up to date and interface with the more modern businesses outside the area. Craig's still a little bit backwards business-wise and needs to go forward, and both the Chamber of Commerce and the Economic Development Partnership have really helped develop business skills and business etiquette,
right.
More professional businesses.
Almost.
When I first came to Craig, it was very rare to find a business that was open during the lunch hour or open after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When people went shopping, there wasn't anything to shop for.
Right. So basically to get them in that mindset of competing against the larger corporations that have moved in? Is that okay?
Yeah, and I think competition from the more national organizations, the fast food restaurants really put a lot of pressure on the local restaurants to be more competitive. And Walmart, Kmart, we had coast-to-coast stores, we had Montgomery Wards, we've had all kinds of stores come through town. That put more pressure on the local small-time businesses to be more modern in their procedures and their policies.
Right. Okay. So, based before with what you said about how Craig was when you first came here and how it is now, do you think Craig's really improved in terms of becoming more family-oriented, family environment?
There's a tremendous amount of more activities for families to do.
Okay.
There's much safer recreation, bigger variety of recreation. The development of Elkhead Reservoir as a boating site, the golf course for golf, all the baseball fields, soccer fields. There's exponentially more recreation, and it is safer.
What do you do now for recreation around here? Yourself and your family?
Myself, I like to golf. When I get the chance, I like to fish. More and more, I just like hanging around my house and just enjoy the house.
Right. But there are now a lot more opportunities for people to go and do things that are more recreational.
Right. Yeah, if I was 30 years old still, I'd be camping or hiking or hunting or something every weekend.
Right. Okay.
Getting a little old for that.
No problem. And there are also the towns around Steamboat and things of that.
The Steamboat has really developed. It was that's one of the main reasons I came to Craig is for skiing at Steamboat. It is quite a great ski hill.
Okay.
Today it's a world-class ski hill. It's a world-class resort. It's had its share of booms and busts, but it's a very successful town, very successful recreation area.
Okay.
Maybe getting a little high end for most of the Craig people and their incomes.
Steamboat is. Okay.
Very expensive anymore.
Okay. Do you have anything in general you'd just like to add about Craig or your time here, things you've seen?
I guess that there's just kind of a core of really nice people that live in Craig.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we're not all the most up-to-date technological, and we don't interface with a lot of outside communities as good as maybe we could. But they're nice, honest, got their heart in the right place people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tight community, and I think that's why I've stayed.
Okay.
I just don't know where I could go and find nicer folks, better intentioned folks.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much.